The Chicago Bears have been hit hard by injuries and COVID-19 this week, which has shaken things up on the roster ahead of Monday night's game against the Minnesota Vikings. The Bears announced a handful of roster moves, which involved a lot of practice squad players being flexed to the active roster for the Vikings game. Here's a look at the roster moves the Bears made just hours before their Monday night game against the Vikings. Bears activated RT Germain Ifedi off IRAP Photo / Gary McCulloughThe Bears activated right tackle Germain Ifedi off injured reserve, a move that comes just in time as rookie Larry Borom remains on the reserve / COVID-19 list. Ifedi landed on IR after injuring his knee back in Week 5 against the Raiders, and he's missed the last 8 games. DeAndre Houston-Carson placed on IRAP Photo / Jeffrey PhelpsSafety DeAndre Houston-Carson was placed on injured reserve with a fractured firearm suffered last Sunday night against the Packers, which means his season is done. Houston-Carson, who's been a valuable reserve and special teams contributor, will undergo surgery to repair his injury. Bears flex WR Dazz Newsome to active rosterAP Photo / Wade PayneThe Bears have flexed wide receiver Dazz Newsome to the active roster for game day against the Vikings. The 6th-round rookie will make his NFL debut against the Vikings. Chicago is down Allen Robinson, COVID, and Marquise Goodwin, foot. Bears flex DB Thomas Graham Jr. to active rosterAP Photo / Mark ZaleskiThe Bears have flexed cornerback Thomas Graham Jr. to the active roster for game day against the Vikings. The 6th-round rookie will make his NFL debut against the Vikings, where he'll provide some needed depth at cornerback with Jaylon Johnson and Artie Burns out with COVID. Bears flex OLB Charles Snowden to active rosterJon. Durr-USA TODAY SportsThe Bears have flexed outside linebacker Charles Snowden to the active roster for game day against the Vikings. The undrafted rookie will provide depth off the edge behind the likes of Robert Quinn, Trevis Gipson, Irvin, and Ledarius Mack. Bears flex WR Nsimba Webster to active rosterScott. Galvin-USA TODAY SportsThe Bears have flexed wide receiver Nsimba Webster to the active roster for game day against the Vikings. Webster spent a few weeks on the active roster at the beginning of the season as Chicago's punt returner. With the Bears down 2 receivers, Webster provides some depth. Bears flex DB Dee Virgin to active rosterWinslow. Townson / AP images for PaniniThe Bears have flexed defensive back Dee Virgin to the active roster for game day against the Vikings. With Chicago's secondary depleted by COVID-19 and injury, Virgin will provide some depth. Bears flex DB Michael Joseph to active rosterJon. Durr-USA TODAY SportsThe Bears have flexed defensive back Michael Joseph to the active roster for game day against the Vikings. With Chicago down all 4 of their starters in the secondary, Joseph provides some depth in the defensive backfield.